and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we have a book haul. This is, I guess, a combined June and birthday book haul. I may be getting some more books from my dad because we haven't celebrated yet at the time of filming, but I'll just include those in a later book haul. I have a lot of books over on that table over there, and I need to start to get them put away or moved over to my TBR cart. So we're gonna film this book haul. It might be a little long, but I'm gonna do my best to condense as much as I can. I'm gonna start with my book box books. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time talking about the synopsis or showing off all of the parts of the books because I did that in the unboxings. I'm going to talk just a little bit about them and then move on to the next box. So first we have the first book box that I subscribe to, and that is Owl Crate. So the next books that I'm going to show you are the May and June books for that subscription. So first we have Ballad and Dagger. This is the first in the YA portion of the Rick Riordan imprints. If you know anything about Rick Riordan imprints and their types, they are mythology retellings. And I don't remember the specific mythology for this one, but I do remember there is a mythical island off of New York that sinks, and there's a diaspora that moves to New York, but then it gets involved, and I know that this involves music and Spanish, and I'm really excited to read this one. Next we have Pride and Prejudice. Owl Crate is doing a series of classics. The first one that they had was Frankenstein. This is Pride and Prejudice. I don't think anyone needs a recap on Pride and Prejudice. The actual book for the June box in Owl Crate is Together We Burn. This is a completely new cover. I didn't talk about that in the unboxing. I really like this cover a whole lot more. This is a fantasy telling set in medieval Spain, where instead of fighting bulls, they fight dragons. Next, we have a subscription that I'm probably not going to renew because I wasn't really all that impressed. It's a quarterly subscription called Call It, and I don't remember anything else about it from when I subscribed, but the book that I got in that one is Child Bride. I do know that it is by an African-American author, but that's all that I know about this book. Next we have the Fairy Loot book, The Stardust Thief. This is the May book. I have yet to receive my June box as of the time of filming. It's delayed apparently, but I am really excited about The Stardust Thief. It's very popular in the book world. It's been in Book of the Month. It's been in obviously this box, and I believe it was also in another book only subscription. So this is set in Middle Eastern mythology, and I think it's a retelling of 1001 Nights or a portion of it, and I'm really excited to get to this one, and I am going to be reading this one in July. Next we have the Illumicrate books. Because April's Illumicrate box was delayed, I saved that unboxing, and thus I have 3 books to show you from Illumicrate. So the April book is a book I'm reading this month, and that is Book of Night by Holly Black. Also a book that doesn't really need introduction. It's been talked a lot on BookTube. It's also a Book of the Month book and was a Fairy Loot adult book only subscription. So I haven't been hearing the greatest things about this, but I still really am excited to read this one. Next we have Portrait of a Thief. It is not a fantasy retelling. It is a heist story where the main character gets together a bunch of other Chinese Americans to steal artifacts that have been taken by colonizers and return them to their rightful owners. Last, we have a book that I probably will not be keeping in my collection. My video for my June unboxings is going to go up later because of the delay with the Fairy Loot box, so it may be going up after this one. There's a lot of problematic talk and things described about this book and about the author, so I don't know even if I'm going to read it, but it's gorgeous. So it's a shame that there are a lot of problematic things that really bother me about what the author did in this book. Next, we have another new subscription, and that is TBR, Tailored Book Recommendations. I've heard a lot about this on BookTube, and it is a quarterly subscription where you can either choose to get recommendations or choose to get the books as well. Since I live in the United States, obviously I chose to get the books as well. And you get 3 books every quarter, so basically 1 a month. And I'm really excited about all of these books. I think they did a really good job. I have Siren Queen by Nevo. This is the story of a star in Hollywood in the 1950s, I believe, but there's a fantastical element to it. I've heard really good things about this. Then we have The Red Palace by Jane Her. This is not fantasy, it is historical fiction set in China, and that's pretty much all I know about it. I am increasingly excited about this one. Finally, we have a book that was actually nominated, I believe shortlisted for the Women's Prize. It is literary fiction, which I don't read a lot of, but this author, Louise Erdrich, is, I don't remember the tribe, but she is Native American, and her work is well renowned, and I've heard a lot of good things about this book. Next we have another subscription that is new for me. The May book, which I got because I got onto the wait list right at the end, I guess, of them sending it out. This is the Goldsboro Science SFF subscription, a limited number of special editions signed copies. I love the ombre sprayed edges, and I remember when I talked about this, it had the library like plastic covering on it, but it's easily removable, and they do that. You can keep it on or you can take it off. They do that to keep it safe. So Collar Brown is a fantasy novel that I don't remember much about, so I won't do a description here. I have seen reviews of this and people liking it, so I'm excited to get to this. The most recent one, I believe the June book, it's highly talked about and it's being talked about in a lot of circles as well, is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro, and it is historical fantasy set in, I believe, the late 1800s, and there are children who have magical powers, but somebody's out to get them and they have to be kept safe. So I'm really excited about this. It is huge. I mean, this is gorgeous, obviously, as well. And this one also came with a bookmark. So I'm excited about this. I don't think I actually did an unboxing for this, and it wasn't part of a vlog because I haven't been vlogging in the summer. But I'm really excited about this. It's about 650 pages, so should be good. The last of the subscription box books is the My Coffee and Book Club. I have actually heard more about the other books that I have hauled before. I wasn't sure what to think and I was about to cancel, but then they sent me these. So we have Over the Woodward Wall by A. Deborah Baker, which is a pen name for Shauna McGuire. This is a middle grade series set in another one of her series, another one of her worlds, in the middle game world. I have not read, I don't know that I'm interested in it, but I am interested in this. I've heard really good things about her Wayward Children series, and she seems to be someone who writes really good short fiction. The other book included in that one was Unraveling by Karen Lord. Karen Lord does speculative fiction, I believe. I don't remember specifically what this one is about, but I have heard reviews about Karen Lord's writing, so I definitely want to give this a try. Next, we have an ARC that I received through Library Things, and that is Like Birds in a Cage, Christian Zionism's Collusion in Israel's Oppression of the Palestinian People. I am actually really intrigued to get to this because growing up in fundamentalist Christian circles, there is a level of passion for Israel that seems to obscure what the political secular state of Israel is doing to the Palestinians. So I'm interested in this author's take on that. Next, we have several books that I bought for myself before I get to the birthday books. And so we're going to start with The Willful Princess and The Piebald Prince. I read this in the American hardback version partway through the Tawny Man trilogy. This is a short work in Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings, and I'm so excited that I get to add to my Robin Hobb collection. Next, we have The Traitor's Blade by Sebastian D. Castell. This is the first in the Grey Coats series. I am a member of J.D. Reed's Patreon, and Sebastian D. Castell is one of, if not her favorite author, and I have wanted to get into this series. And for some reason, I thought one of the prompts for a previous Pokeathon gym was read a rat bag, which is her nickname favorite. And so Sebastian de Castell is not available in my library at all, which is rude. So I purchased this off of Thrift Book for just a few dollars, and I'm going to wait until that prompt comes up, and I'm gonna read this one for that. Next, we have the second half of Persepolis. I read the first half a month or so ago. Really enjoyed it, thought it was really hard-hitting. Definitely wanted the second to complete the duology, the two parts of her memoir. I don't know when I'll be getting to this, but I'm really excited about it. I'm not going to go through these next ones individually. This is my ever-growing collection of Doctor Who comic bind-ups. I went through in one of my vlogs and showed almost all of the individual ones in there. They're just feel-good reads, and I love Doctor Who, so I love having those. Next, we have one of my first pre-orders that finally came in. That is the 25th anniversary edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I thought there wasn't much change, but I've since watched videos on a lot of the walkthroughs, and there's a lot of extra information and writings and drawings and things in the front and the back of the book. So this is adding to my ever-growing collection, which will be housed on that bookshelf, which is behind the camera right now. The next section of books are all books that I got on a spur-of-the-moment Barnes & Noble trip where I was feeling like rewarding myself. It was close to the end of the school year, so I got a lot of books that I was really excited about. I have talked about a handful of them in other videos as I have read them throughout the summer, but this is my first chance to get to haul them. The first of those from that stack that I read is Wake, The Hidden History of Women-Led Slave Revolts. This is a really powerful combination of memoir and history. The artistry in here is phenomenal. If I remember, will link the vlog in which I talked more about this book. Next, we have Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I have wanted to read this one for a while and actually purchased it before realizing that it was on the SEASL list for young adult books, so I did read that. For that one, you will see that in part 3 of my SEASL project. In Legendborn, the main character Bree is dealing with the recent and unexpected death of her mother. She's not necessarily coping with it well, but she's not coping with it terribly. But she and her friend go off to this early college program on the campus of UNC. So she ends up getting involved in a secret society of people descended from Arthurian legend, and there's magic involved. I really enjoyed it. This is not a book review. You'll hear more about that in the SEASL project, but I'm eagerly anticipating the second book in this series. I don't know how many there will be. Next, we have another book that I have since read since purchasing that, and that is Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians, which is the first in one of Brandon Sanderson's middle grade series where the world is not what it seems, and everything that we think of as normal is actually controlled by the evil librarians who want to keep people from seeing the truth, and Alcatraz has to fight them. Really funny, really snarky, love it. Next, we have the second and third books in the Cruel Prince trilogy. I have the Cruel Prince, and now I have the other two in that trilogy. Next, we have Howl's Moving Castle. I have heard so much about Howl's Moving Castle. It's a classic. I have never been into Studio Ghibli films, so I don't really know a lot about this, except for that I think that I will like it. So I'm excited to get to it. Next, we have Refugiado, which is the Spanish translation of Refugee by Alan Gratz. I've read it in English. Alan Gratz does this thing where he has separate storylines, separate characters, narratives, and then weaves them together. And he does a brilliant job in this book, which is a book that has been used by like teachers on my team in their curriculum, and I would love to have a Spanish copy of it and read through it, obviously, before I put it on my classroom shelves. Next we have How Dare the Sun Rise by, I'm not going to try to pronounce her name. I don't want to butcher it. I have heard really good things about this book. This is a memoir of someone who has endured a lot of trauma. I've heard that it's hard-hitting, but it's really well done and needed, so I look forward to reading this book. Last of that haul, we have I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. I looked at this book when I went to Atlanta, didn't pick it up. Then when I saw it again on this trip, I'm like, I got to get it. And I really love Ruta Sepetys' research and her historiography in her historical fiction. And this, again, tells the story of an aspect or a part of history that not a lot of people pay attention to, which is the Romanian Revolution against the Soviet Union. So I eagerly anticipate getting to this book. The last section of this massive book haul, I have some giant stacks of books. I'm not really sure how I'm going to take this thumbnail, but I'm going to try. But the last in this section are books that I got for my birthday. Most of them were from my mother, but one of them, she told me, she actually recommended this book to me a while back, and I'm like, that sounds amazing. And I think it was based on my review of the cookbook Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. I was just looking across at it. And I have this thing, no, it was a different food memoir that I read. There's just this aspect to memoirs that involve chefs and travel and discovery that I really love, and I'd never heard about this book before, but this is Garlic and Sapphires, The Secret Life of a Critic in Disguise, where it's a food critic. She goes and she travels, I guess, around the world, all these restaurants, but doesn't let anybody know that she's a food critic. And my cousin confessed to me that she actually read this for a second time before she gave me the book, which, hey, that's high praise. I can't wait to read this one. So the next set of books that I got were all three in the second era Mistborn books. I have actually, since getting them, read Alloy of Law. I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I was a little wary. I didn't know if I would appreciate the quote-unquote Wild West setting of it, but Sanderson does such a good job with world building. And when you have all of these connections and nuggets back to other things, which he does here with things in first era Mistborn, I can't wait to read the other two. And I'm eagerly anticipating already the fourth in second era Mistborn, but I'm not going to purchase it until I can get it in paperback copies. So it's going to be a little while before I can get those. And then this one is the Arcanum Unbounded. There are several novellas that I have not read in the Cosmere that I need to read, and I was waiting until I could get my hands on the Arcanum Unbounded, which is a collection of those novellas. I now own all of the books that I have read in the Realm of the Elderlings. There are 2 series that I have yet to read, and I will be purchasing those as soon as I read them. Since I have the illustrated versions of the Farseer trilogy, I didn't get those, but I did get the Live Ship Traders trilogy and the 20-Man trilogy. So we have Ship of Magic, Mad Ship, Ship of Destiny, Fool's Errand, Golden Fool, Fool's Fate. I have a lot of books surrounding me. I think I may just sort of try to pile them up on my chair to take the thumbnail to see if that will work. I was gonna try to count them, but then I realized that I have all of those Doctor Who bind-ups. I'm not gonna try. So I'm really excited about this haul. I'm going to be doing a TBR cart reorganization, but I'm also gonna be able to put a lot of these on my shelves and finally film my last clip in my library vlog, which will be going up, I don't know when, but I am so excited to show off my new library. It's phenomenal. Thank you so much for watching this really extended book haul. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.